So, thrilled to welcome you all here as we launch the site in the tent for the program directors of Reform Judaism. This is not a large group that we have from the PDRJ, but it's a strong group, and we look forward to lots of input and lots of participation from you along the way. A couple of housekeeping items as we get into this. Again, my name is Larry Glickman. I am the director of the Knowledge Network for the URJ. And soon I'm going to hand the controls for the webinar over to Judy Ratner. Judy has worked for the URJ and in congregational life for a number of years, and she is talking to us today from her office in Dallas. So we're going to hand it over to her soon. Everybody is on mute. But that is not to say we don't want to hear from you. That is not to say that we don't want to answer any questions or concerns you might have along the way. In your GoToWebinar control panel, you will see a couple of controls that are key for you. One is there's a blue bar that goes across the control panel called chat, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on this chat box. If there's anything that you're confused about or you want to ask about, you can just type a comment in the chat box there. Along the top of the screen, along the side, vertically along the side are a number of icons, and you should see a hand icon. If you click that, it's like you're raising your hand. And if you raise your hand, we will pause. And we might not pause right away, but we will pause. And I will unmute you so you can ask the question that you have. So, assuming that all makes sense, I'm going to hand control for the webinar now over to Judy, who's going to take it from here. So, I think this is going to make you the controller here, Judy. Did you just get an alert on your screen?
I did. It says show
Great.
my screen. So let's see what everyone will end up seeing before.
That was an email from me.
Oh, great.
We see
Well,
your email.
okay, well, since I'm working with two screens, I wanted to make sure that
There we
I
go.
that I had the right one. So welcome everybody. This is a very exciting day. And I want to thank Andy in advance for all of the work behind the scene that many of you probably are not aware of, but we are truly grateful for his as well as the pilot group of within PDRJ who have helped launch this site. So first of all, some of you may have already figured out how to log in, and some of you are sitting with that password just waiting to figure out what to do with it. So there are going to be two ways to actually get into the tent. One is really called the public URJ home site, and that is really for people who don't have a password, never had a password, and are going to request one. That really is not this group. This group has a password or will get a password, and that site that you will access the tent will be the one that I have in front of you, which is theurj.sharepoint.com. When you first, if I start to confuse anybody, Larry's going to look at the chat and make sure that I know if I've moved off the road a bit to come back. I'm going to show you the other site that if nobody ever had a password and you want to get one, they would sign in here, which I had to do this first at the very beginning. And you would click on here to sign into the tent. And once you do, for the very first time, it won't show you what you're going to see, because you will see way over in the upper right hand corner, it has already saved my name, because I've already been into the tent once and logged in with a temporary password, and I changed it to a permanent password. And so I don't really have to remember how to access the tent anymore because I just go to this urjsharepoint.com.
And I'm going to interrupt you, which for what may be the first of a few times, I'm afraid. And this
Many.
is not for anything you forgot to say. I forgot to say that when Judy was talking about her name just now, I couldn't see her name because it was underneath my GoToWebinar control panel, as it probably is for a number of you. So what you will see here, on that little tray that pops out from the left side, is a red air arrow. And if you click that red arrow, your control panel will kind of collapse and will become real small. So you can see all of the things that Judy is talking about on the screen. And then if you want to raise your hand, if you want to type in the chat box, you can just click that red arrow again and you can do what you need to do. Um,
Thanks,
and
Larry.
and I also want to mention that if people did not receive their login information, I understand there were a few people on this list who did not. Please make sure we know through the chat box, and we will look into it. We may even get it resolved before the end of the call. Back to you, Judy.
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now we're going to go under the assumption, and it might be a big assumption, but that everybody has a temporary password. So you would start off by going to this site and putting in your username. And the username is your first initial and your last name. The key is after that, it's at urj.net, not org, but .net. Sometimes people forget that and then they think their password's not working because they get an error message, and sometimes it's because they don't put the .net in. So you put in your username, once again, first initial, last name at urj.net, and your temporary password. It will then bring you to this page. Well, actually, we'll bring you to another page where we'll ask you to create a permanent password. And there's a little caveat about a permanent password. That permanent password is like most of our secure sites. You will have to create a new password maybe 3 times a year. We're not sure, but it will have to change because of the secure site that we have created. So
And I will say that the process to set up that password, you're really walked through it step by step. You really can't mess it up. It really holds your hand as it takes you through it. It shouldn't be a big deal at all.
So the first thing you're going to really want to do after you log in, and you must have, and it will tell you if you're not giving it a strong enough password because it won't let you log in. So it will need, and it will tell you what you need, whether it's small case, large case letters, some numbers, some symbols, and I would strongly recommend you saving that in your phones or places where you can refer to it in case you need to refresh your memory. The profile is the very first place that you should go because if people don't know about you, this online collaborative platform won't be as dynamic and robust as it could be in connecting people with each other. So as you see, you will go in and you will click Edit Your Profile. And this is the page where you will load in things about yourself that are important for other people to know so that they can build connections with you about not only the congregation with which you work or the community or the areas of expertise that you bring to the table that they may want to tap later on down the road. So it gives you several areas to put in that information about yourself. And we are actually going to request that you put in a picture for all the reasons I just said before about building community means being able to know who you're talking to, even if it's in a chat. It really does build a sense of relationship that you kind of have an idea of who you're talking with. Down here, the Ask About Me, as you click into the box, you can start typing things that are not only of interest to you, but that you actually have some knowledge about. So in the world of in the world of make-believe, if I thought I was a guru in finance, I could start typing in finance, and you'll see that automatically we have some keywords that have popped up because we have pre-loaded some categories that would make sense in congregational life, learning, living. And so there's finance coordination, finance. I can just click on finance and it would
If
automatically put it there. That doesn't mean
if you put in another word, Judy, and scroll to the end of the list, if you were going to do this, so scroll to the end of the list, and you can see if you can't find a term that is a match, you can create a new term. You're going to see a few lists like this through the tent, and you can't add terms to all of the lists, but to the Ask Me About list, you can.
perfect. Thank you, Larry. So I'm
That's
going
right.
to kind of take that away because I don't know anything. I mean, I'm not a guru about that.
Ah, come on.
And when you're done, you would click Save and Close. And so, which I will do, and it will take you, they've been changed. Okay, great. So once that has been done, then the next thing that we really want you to do is to take a look at these ribbons across the top. Now, you're not going to see all these ribbons, the Outlook, the calendar, the people, but you will see the word sites and newsfeed. And in the newsfeed, depending on what is of interest to you, whether it's people are interested, you'll see that I want to follow Larry because I think Larry might have some valuable knowledge. Um, I know that I'm following Andy. I'm following several people, but I'm also following some documents, which I'm not going to get into that at this point, but I'm also following sites. And this is the important thing where I want to move to you because you have a very important site that just launched yesterday. So if you want to see, well, what is out there in tent land that I may want to look at, I would direct you right here to this box that it says Community Directory. And if I were a member of PDRJ, the first thing I would do is scroll down and look for PDRJ, and there you are. And I would click on that, and it will bring up, well, see, I'm already a member of this, site. It would bring up this site for you, and right under, I think it's in the blue ribbon right here, it would say to you, join this community. It
It's
doesn't
going to
say
be
that
in that gray box where it says
featured links.
featured links. Is going to be right there in that spot there. Yeah.
Okay, so I would click on that. I've already clicked on it. That's why it's no longer there. And it would allow me to be part of that site. Now, PDRJ is a closed site. So if somebody else who wasn't already pre-approved to be and have a password that allowed them to get into PDRJ site, they would not be able to join and they would get an error message. So once I clicked on that site, I also, if I clicked on here to follow this site, it will tell you I'm already following this site. So what does that mean to follow a site? I can, when I first come to this site, the Program Directors of Reformed Judaism, this discussion, this whole first page, if I scroll down, are all the current conversations that are the most current, with not just the posting of the question or discussion, but of recent replies. So, for example, let's scroll down here. Here's one: professional staff training on membership recruitment. So if you see, it will tell you who actually created that new discussion, which was me. But it will also tell you who had the last reply, which Andy did, and it gives you a date when he replied. If you look over on the left side, it will also tell you right off the bat without looking, there were 5 replies, and actually somebody actually liked a reply. Just like on Facebook, you can click a thumbs up, and it would say that you like something. To see the whole trail of a conversation, you would just click on that discussion topic, and you will see the question I asked. And then if you keep scrolling down, you will see that Karen Hoffman replied to me. And then if you keep scrolling down, you will see that then I responded to Karen's post and with some other information, and then Karen replied back, and then we had Laura respond to Karen's post, and so it goes. So you will have this whole trail in one very easy place to view. Now, as I said, if you just hover over some of these things, they are pretty self-intuitive as to what that would mean. So you would see that Karen had Andy Wayne clicked on he liked Karen's, whatever Karen said here. And if I wanted to reply to Karen here, I could just click the reply field, and automatically you will see a text box open up. And when I click my cursor into that text box, what you will see across the top is something that should be very familiar to a lot of you, which looks like you're opening a Word document. And you can just begin typing. So I would, say, this is in response to Karen's whatever, whatever, whatever. And I could hit reply, and it would just take it and post it directly to that discussion board. And it would probably move that discussion to the top of the list because I just did something today. The other thing I could do while I'm replying is if there was a document that I had at my disposal.
Do you know, Judy, I'm going to interrupt you real fast. You're doing a great job here, and I want to pause before we get into what I know you're going to get into next. And I want to make sure that I want to check in with everybody just to see if
Sure.
anybody has any
Thank you.
questions that they might like to ask. I'm not seeing any hands raised right now or anything like that. Oh, I do see one from Bryn. It says, "What if it won't let me join the PDRJ community?" So, Bryn, I am going to unmute you. Bryn, are you there?
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm playing around with the tent on, another tab while this is going on, and it says that PDRJ is private, and it doesn't. I don't know why I don't have access to join it.
Did you click on the link? It says private for everybody.
Right. I clicked on where it says PDRJ, and it
Eh,
said that I didn't have access.
Interesting. Okay, so I will look into that on my end, and I will be back in touch with you one on
Okay.
one to resolve that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Okay.
thank you for bringing that to our attention. As you know, the tent launched really at biennial, so we are still finding some bugs in our tent. Though we don't need to have insecticide, but we are still
Nice,
finding
Judy.
some bugs.
Nice.
Um,
Um,
so
Right. So what we've done is we've talked about the importance of the About Me page and about being able to fill that in, about how to find the PDRJ site, and then some of the main parts of the PDRJ site. And Judy is showing us about discussions now, and I think she's going to show us about how to share a resource as well. So please don't be shy. This webinar is only going to work if we answer the questions that you have. So please do keep those coming along. And Judy, I will hand it back to you.
Great, thank you. There are a couple ways of sharing some of your best resources. One is if you are actually in a conversation with somebody and it has something to do specifically to what somebody's asking. So you can, just like I set up here, you can click the insert and you can upload a file, upload a link. It's very much like you are working at your own computer in Word. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to this main page for PDRJ. And I would like for you to look onto the left side of the screen. What you're looking at is the home page. So I'm just going to click that again. And once again, the home page for PDRJ will show the conversations that are currently taking place. On the very right side, you can actually see how many members are currently joined on this particular site, and we hope that over the next couple of days this is really going to double and triple. It'll tell you how many conversations are happening and replies. If you scroll down even further, it will tell you who some of the top contributors to this site are, and we hope to see a lot more of your names up there as the days go on. Going back over to the left side, I'm going to click on the word categories because within the realm of program directors of Reform Judaism, the pilot team came up with several categories that are pertinent to the work that you do in congregational life. So if you see, we've got these boxes, which are very pretty, and Larry came up with all these graphics, and probably with Andy did some as well, to create these boxes of categories. Now, what's beautiful about this, so let's look at cohorts and chavurot. If you hover over them, you will see if there are any conversations or discussions taking place and how many replies. So you can kind of get a sense for communication and marketing. There's been 4 discussions, 7 replies, and so on. So you can see throughout, what has had the most. Once again, it's just gone live, so there's not a lot there. The other thing that you will see is a column for resources. So if you click on articles and publications, these are things that have been uploaded to this site in these types of categories. So the resources you will see are not listed in a category order. They're more listed in and filtered by the content type of the resource. So that's why you have articles and publications, committee descriptions, guides and examples. So I'm going to just click on guides and examples. So here's a communication policy that was from Temple High. The title of it is Temple High Communication Policy. It has been given a summary. As a matter of fact, I think to make it easier, I'm going to show you if I click on add a new document. This is what will happen. You will browse and pick it from your computer, just like you would do if you were doing an attachment somewhere else. And it will give you questions to answer to help filter this particular document that you want to share in a way that other people who are looking for a specific topic will be able to filter on. So you can see name, title.
Judy, if you click on the ellipsis, you always know when you see the ellipsis in the tent, that means there's more. So click on the ellipsis again because there's more. Ellipsis, no, the other ellipsis. Yeah. And if you go into view properties, you can view the metadata that was attached to this resource.
So here are all, when Larry says metadata, that is a nice term for filtered.
It's data about data.
exactly.
Data about data is actually what that term means. Yeah.
Data about data. Well, it took me a while to figure out what data about data was because I
I
just
don't know
wanted it to
why.
be built. I call it searchability and findability. That works for me.
That's good too.
So so here are the metadata that we ask for people. So sometimes it doesn't matter. Size sometimes doesn't matter, and sometimes size matters drastically. So we ask when it was developed, the congregation, if it came from a congregation, etc. So you can see, and plus, what's great about it is if you want to contact that congregation because you have a question about how they came to have a policy, or did it cause a lot of hoop-de-doo in a congregation, you can actually speak to the people who authored this. Um,
That was me.
this and that was Larry.
Sorry.
So, and this would also be a place if you have a guide or example to share with others. This is where you would load it. You would come to this category, or you have a job description. We're always looking. If I had a nickel for every time we had got questions for the job description of a program director or a membership director or a whatever staff person, we could probably all retire. Um, and right now there are none here. So that looks like a gold mine waiting to happen. But once again, this site has just launched, so we don't expect that there's going to be much here at all. But this would definitely be a place for sharing, collaboration. And let me also share with you that you can, if there's something here that you like, so let's say we actually are going to open up this document. Once again, it opens right into a kind of a document that is easily editable. It's, you can edit it easily.
Editable.
Editable. You don't want to eat it. So here you can click on edit the document, and you can do it one of two ways: a very quick way, or pull it down into Microsoft Office, open it up. You can download it. You can do whatever, tweak it yourself, and the tent will always share the original document. It will always be there. You can print it out. You can share the document with somebody else.
A good rule of thumb is that if you don't want a resource to be changed in the tent, then you should upload it as a PDF file. If you don't mind if it's changed, and this is a site for professional colleagues of yours, so you should know that if you do load a Word file, that our hope is that they're only going to be changed in the tent if they coordinate that with you first. But even if they don't, even if they just go in and decide to change it on their own, the tent does, if you click on the ellipsis again, Jude, they will see a pull down item that says version history. And the tent keeps track of the last 10 versions of any resource that was posted in the tent.
And the one thing that is good about that is that we rely on people to help us make our knowledge better, regardless of where it initiates, from where it initiates. So we don't have all the knowledge. We never claim to have all the knowledge, but there's a lot of knowledge out there that we want to capture and then have people even make it better, or usable for others in different realms. Let's click down here on members. Once again, you can actually see who the members are within this community, and if you want to, like I said before, I sort of remember this guy Larry Glickman. I heard him speak once. He actually was kind of smart. Maybe I want to follow him for a while. I don't want to stalk him, but maybe I'll follow him for a while. So I clicked on Larry, and I see that, oh, well, he is, this is who he is, and this is what, some of his areas of expertise are. And up in this, if I weren't already following Larry,
You
this
could
would say
click
stop.
Click stop.
Oh, I should stop following you. Okay, so now so you can do that. You can follow somebody for a while and say, gosh, this guy, I'm this person, this woman, this man is really nothing to follow, so I'm going to not follow him anymore. Or you can decide I'm going to follow him because he's working on something that I think I'd like to know about, or I want to know what he's doing. So that's another way of staying connected with people that might be helpful in the work that you do. And it also shows you over here that both Larry and I are following some of these other people. We're following the same people, and you can kind of see, who we're all following. So, are there any, Larry? I'm going to pause here for a second. Are
Great.
there any questions right now?
Uh, okay, so Andy, I'm going to unmute Andy because I think his hands must hurt from having to type so much because he is just typing little notes away at me. So one moment, Andy, just sit tight, Andy. Okay, Andy Wayne, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Wayne.
Big mistake on meeting me.
Okay,
Uh,
so Andy has been making lots of comments to me. Um, one of which is, one second. You want to know about badges, correct?
right, I was just figuring when people are looking at the member list, they might be wondering what the badges are.
Okay, and do you know what? I am going to go ahead and unmute you again because for some reason your microphone is not real clear. So let's continue to keep in touch over this chat box. But I'm going to go ahead and put you back
That's
on
fine.
mute. Okay. Okay. So what Andy is talking about as far as badges are concerned, Judy, if you can go back to the home page. Now, Judy was talking before about the top contributors of the site, and it turns the tent into a little bit of a game. It's not much of a game, but it's a little bit of a game. And the more you participate in the tent, the more points you get, and the higher of a contributor you become. And you can even earn a badge. And you can see that Andy has been playing around with badges a little bit here. The community moderator of a site, who is Mr. Wayne here, they always get the badge of community moderator. But then that community moderator can go in and start to bestow badges to everybody on their own. And you can just see on the site there, I'm not going to read through them, that he has begun to play around with that, which is great. And so I'm sure you're going to hear more about how you too can earn a badge and climb up on that top contributors list. And so Andy just sent me another note. He has plans to actually send badges, real badges and ribbons to people who he gives badges to in the tent, which is great. I haven't thought about that one yet. And so this is great. And it's just one more way. And just so you know, how do you get points in the tent? If you could scroll down a little bit so we could see those top contributors, or actually click on, if you could go back and click on the members list, Judy. If you scroll down a bit, you can see that most people who don't have a badge have those blue squares under their name, and that indicates how much they've participated in the tent. If Andy wasn't so kind as to give me a badge, I think you might see two squares under my name. You get points when you reply to things. You get points when you post things. You get points when somebody likes a comment that you made. You get lots of points if somebody indicates your response is the best response. And if, Judy, you want to go into one of the discussions on the site, we can just show how that's done. So we go to home, and let's go to one with a couple of replies. Let's go to getting ready to rumble. Very cute, Andy. Okay, so we can like things here. So Judy can like her own comment there if she wants.
No, Laura liked my comment.
Okay, so scroll down and like something else.
Well, I like Judy, so
Okay, so like
I'll
Andy.
I like
And
I
then
said I like.
if she were to go into the ellipsis right there, again, that always means more. Go to the ellipsis. and say it's the best reply, then Andy is going to get 100 points in the tent.
Oh, I'm taking that away.
So you can remove that. So if you click on that again, remove best reply. Now 100 points. She giveth the 100 points. She taketh away the 100 points. So
Easy
that
come, easy go.
that is a little bit about gamification in the tent and about points and badges and all of that good stuff. And Andy says we are so cruel. Well, you'll learn to get used to that.
That's right.
So,
So wait, one thing I did not mention, which I think is something to talk about, our hashtags and the ampersand sign, the @ sign. So I actually had some difficulty learning this since I didn't Twitter or don't Twitter. So if I want to bring Andy make Andy aware of a conversation that's happening, and I want him to be notified by an email, the way I bring him into a conversation when he isn't yet in the conversation is I am so proud of, and I put the @ sign, and then you'll see that as soon as I do that, a list of people show up. Now, I've learned that the only way this shows up is if your privacy settings are set to show all, which mine weren't. So I just learned that this week.
and
So I
yours,
put
everybody on this call, that's their default, so they shouldn't have
That's
to
your
do
default.
anything,
Okay.
I believe.
So I just said I am so proud of @ Andy Wayne with his dedication and work on, and then I'm going to do a hashtag PD, and there's PDRJ showing right up because evidently someone has created this as a hashtag. So by doing a hashtag and putting PDRJ right into this text box, this reply box, it will, for anybody who is following PDRJ, and we'll get to that in a minute, this will show up in your news feed. If you are following PDRJ, this should show up in your news feed. Is that correct, Larry?
Yes.
So I'm going to hit reply, and then if I go back to the home screen, this should have popped up now, which it did, to the top of the list, and it says that I just did it a few seconds ago, and if I click on it, here it is where it has the @ and then Andy should have gotten an email saying that in his Outlook box, because
It may be an email, it may just be on the news feed, but he's going to get that alert.
he'll get an alert
Yeah.
somehow. That's right. So, but this is a very good tool that if someone is looking for some type of information in the tent, and you were part of a conversation, and you knew about 2 or 3 other people that really were great resources for that particular topic, you could actually, in the course of that conversation, do the @ with their name, and they would then be brought into that conversation for further collaboration, and it really expands the net for further dialogue and resource sharing and building. Any questions so far about that?
1 second. Andy did get an alert, and I made a comment about that in the tent, but there's no other comments. And let me just make sure there are no other questions. Attendees, see if anybody has a raised hand. 1 second. Nope, go right ahead. You're doing great.
Okay. All right, so I clicked on the news feed just to go back, just to show you that when I clicked on my own news feed, it shows you right here, because I'm following Larry, that Larry just replied to getting ready to rumble in the Program Directors Reform for Judaism @ Andy Wayne. So so that's another way of where it will show up.
And you got an alert too. I see you just got an
And I did,
email.
and I just got an alert in my Outlook box. So I'm going to delete you right there.
Thank you.
Okay, and then down here you'll see trending tags. So, and I'm not sure, Larry, where these pull from.
These
You
pull
can,
just from the general activity in the tent. An important thing to keep in mind, this hashtag thing may feel like a new strange thing to some of you out there, but think of it like a keyword. And if people use the same keywords, they're going to connect to each other in the tent. Judy, if you go into your About Me page, and if you click on the ellipsis, if you edit your profile,
oh, okay.
your incredibly long profile,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And you scroll back up to the top there and you click on the ellipsis and you go into newsfeed. This is where you can start to talk about the hashtags that you want. So if you were to type in there now, Judy, hashtag PDRJ,
Which I would want to.
yeah, now that's going to be up on your news feed as well. This is where you can go in. What are the things that are important to all of you as the program directors of your congregations? You might want to put in hashtag membership. You might want to put in hashtag program directors. You might
And
want to,
as you will see, I just put in a hashtag and did nothing else. And look at the list that came up.
and it goes on and on and on. That's
On
not
and on
all.
and on.
Yeah.
So,
And you can add things to this too. And if you go back to your news feed, Judy,
do I have to click save? I don't have to
no,
click save.
no.
Okay.
If you see somebody is mentioned in your news feed, now this news feed is a really powerful tool, and we're only really beginning to understand what this. Well, I am only really beginning to understand all of the great things that this can do. So on right now, you'll see the word following is in blue. So this is showing Judy everything. It's showing a news feed of all of the things, all of the hashtags, and all of the people that she is following in the tent. If she clicks on the everyone link, that's going to show her everything that she has the rights to see in the tent, whether she's following somebody or not. So she could choose to follow Sandy here. She could choose to if she hadn't been you see where wait, slow down, go back up. So there was a new hashtag here when this came in. It was a new hashtag for her. She could choose to click the follow hashtag PDRJ here, so that this is all going to appear in her newsfeed under following. And under the mentions link, we see if Judy has been mentioned in anybody's post, and we see that our good friend Andy has. So that's a little bit about newsfeed, please, and that's a place where you can just go straight to the newsfeed, go to talk to someone there. You may want to talk to somebody where it doesn't really have a place on your site. You can do it in the newsfeed, but it's really important to keep in mind that there is no such thing as confidentiality in the tent. If it's on your newsfeed, anybody can see it. If you want to email somebody, then go to their About Me page and copy and paste their email address, but it's not going to be private in the tent.
Um, so, all right. So now we're going to move to a few other things. Any questions about following people, hashtags, using the @ sign? Are there any questions about
We
that before
did
we move?
we did get one question from Andy about alerts, about email alerts, and we're going to
That's
get
where
to
I'm
that
going
soon.
next.
Yeah,
That's
we're
where I'm
going to
going
get to
next.
that soon.
So there are ways that you can be alerted through an email as to what is going on in the tent, whether it is a particular conversation you want to follow or it's a whole site. So, so for example, I'm going to go back to the sites. Before I do that, I do want to tell you about the public sites because this is very important too.
We need
Um,
you there.
yes, as much as you are sharing and dialoguing in your private site, we really need for you to share your knowledge and your wealth of information on these public sites, which is hopefully going to be busting at the seams with conversation and resources and best practices. And it's a good place for you to go look too, because let's just click on this one. There are three: Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim, and into each one of these lives something. Within those three, we should be capturing congregational life, learning, living in some way to help others. So in Avodah, you get things like temple administration, communication, finance, and membership. So probably of all of them, this might be one that would be of greatest importance to you. So you can see that there are 57 members within this open site, with 19 conversations going on with 29 replies. And you can tell there are some people who have contributed. More importantly, if we go over to the categories of this topic, it's easy for you to go through and see where are the conversations happening.
There's not much yet.
Well, right. So, but there are finance discussions with 11 replies. I'm just going to pick that one for an example. But I know that you guys deal with a lot of dues adjustments and financial accommodations and things like that. So
You can see a best reply there, by the way.
right.
See
So
where it says best reply?
right. So Larry posted the question of do you email your financials to your board before your meetings? Why or why not? And so then you had some people that replied, and let's see where Larry had a best reply.
It was right at the top. It was for Ellen. Go back up, up, up. You see the best reply goes right up to the top of the page, right there. So what that did is, and I gave her the best reply. Now, if you go to the home page of the Avodah site, that gave my good friend Ellen Franklin 100 points.
100 points.
Guess
And
where she is on the top contributor
and
list?
she shot her up to the top.
Thank you, Larry Glickman.
So once again, these resources here are specific to, and there aren't that many here, to this particular open site. We have not talked about, and I'm going to show you how to get alerts in a second, but since the search box is right here, I'm going to click on it. And you're going to see a lot of things because it's me and I have access to a lot of uncurated content in the tent, which, God willing, over time will populate the tent library. But if I would put on here dues adjustments and just clicked enter, what's going to happen is the search words are up here, and right now it's searching everything in the tent. And it'll show here's a policy, whatever, and it'll tell me exactly where it is within the tent. And if it was an uncurated, which you can't see, it would tell me that too. And once again, you can click on this. You could click on it. You can edit it, print it, share it, do whatever. But the other thing that's good about a search is you can click on the word people to see, are there people out there who have said in their About Me that they know a lot about dues adjustments? Well, nobody put that in there. But I wonder if I just click dues. And I had people. So here, Debbie Vinacour is a temple administrator who did put dues down there, and Robin Converse. And so that if you're looking to talk to somebody about a specific topic of area that you really are looking for some expert information, this would be a great resource for you to explore. You can also click on conversations, and that'll pull up any conversation that is in a public site or in a private site that you are part of, and it will bring you that conversation. So Mary Lugassi, who is a URJ Congregational Network Director for small congregations, you'll see a lot of her conversations are in small talk. But here's dues relief from Robin. So you will see not only documents, but people in conversations. And on the left side, you can also search on
Well, what it
authors.
takes is it's not so much a search now. It's already done the search. So
Right, it's a
now
filter.
all of those terms on the left are going to refine your search down. If you get 500 search results, you can go and say, I know that Adam Inlander really knows his stuff about dues. I want to see only things that he shared. And if you click on his name, it's going to strip away anything that wasn't shared by him or that does not have his name. And so you could do it by who shared it. You can do it by the modification date. If you only want to see new stuff, if you only want to see old stuff, you can see things from particular size congregations.
If you're looking for a PowerPoint,
Yeah,
you can even filter it by the type of the resource itself. To say, well, maybe you're trying to do a presentation and you're looking for, well, look at this, alternative funding for today's synagogues.
yep.
And you could
And
take,
if you go back to that search result, you'll see you can even page through the PowerPoint itself in that preview that came up.
right, you could click over
Yeah,
here and go through all the
it's
different
very cool.
slides
Yeah.
without having to open it up. And once again, you can send it to somebody else. So this is a very robust, powerful tool to help you really fine-tune the work that you do.
Do you know,
Now we're going to,
we did get a question, Judy. If
okay,
you could go back to the PDRJ homepage,
okay.
Catherine Fisher asked if who determines best response and how do you decide? That really opens up a very interesting thing to talk about. Anybody with access to PDRJ site can determine a reply to be a best reply. And it's up to you. There's no rules, but this is really what the community moderator is for too. If somebody just starts to go through and pick all of these best replies and Andy doesn't feel that it's a sincere thing, that if he feels that it's being acted on outside the realm of how the site really should run, he can go in and unselect those things as a best response. So it really is up. Again, we'll go back and say this is a site for professionals. So we do expect everybody to act in a professional way. And if they don't, then Andy can go in and clean things up as he sees fit.
And I believe we actually have like the 10 Commandments of the 10 somewhere.
It in about on the left. Should be about. Yeah.
So here we go. In case anybody wants to learn about the new 10 Commandments, here they are. But it is, we're hoping it doesn't turn, well, we know that it will not turn into a place where people go on and on and on and vent negatively. Andy, I'm sure, will step in. This is really a place for learning, sharing, growing, collaborating, and creating positive relationships. So let me move now to...
Let's do email alerts, and then I think we should plan to wrap this up soon because it's
right.
about an hour or so.
So there are 6 clicks to get to where I'm going to go. So I clicked on this little gear.
Well, wait, if let's just introduce this a bit, perhaps, if we can. This is not a listserv, right, Judy?
It is not. And for people who tell you, oh, the PDRJ site in the tent is replacing membership talk or whatever your list shamash thing was called, because the answer is absolutely not. It is a place for conversations to take place, and more and more and then some. So one of the functions that the tent allows you to do is to be able to be aware of what's going on and get notifications of conversations. It also categorizes conversations that are much easier to extract again and to follow a trail. So I don't know why that just popped up on my screen, but I'm gonna undock. Okay, so everyone can still see my screen, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so in order to modify how often you are alerted to things that are going on in the tent, you can change it daily if you want, because maybe you're not getting enough, you're getting too much. So the way you do this is you click on this gear, you go to site contents. Well, actually, and remember, I am on the PDRJ site. So the emails that I'm going to set now are solely about anything that's going to go on in the PDRJ site. So I go to discussion lists. And then you'll see, as soon as I clicked on that, the word items and list showed up. So I'm going to click on the word list, and you'll see a whole banner appeared. So here's the alert me icon with the little bell. If you click on that, you can set an alert on this or manage my alerts. You can click on either one. It pretty much takes you to the same place.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's do that again. So alert me, set an alert on this list.
There you go.
So the default on this list is that you're going to get an email anytime there are changes, additions, anything to this site, and you're going to get sent a notification via your email immediately. Now, right now, we're recommending you should leave it as the default because there's not a lot going on there, and you probably want to see everything. When we get 100% of PDRJ in there, and they're all dialoguing and everything is going on, well, maybe you want a daily summary, so you would click daily summary. Or maybe you want it to be a weekly summary, but we would recommend you leave it. If you do nothing and you just click OK, it'll send you things immediately as they are posted, and that's what we would recommend you do now.
And what you will get is an email with the content of the comment itself. You will see who made the comment, and you will be provided with a link back to the discussion itself,
So
as
for
you're going to see here.
for example, here's my inbox, and I just got a notification about something that happened into PDRJ, which I actually did. And so it just came right into my inbox. So of course I'm going to delete it, but at least it showed me right away what was going on. And you can also create Outlook folders for you in the tent, in your own Outlook, so that you may want to create categories of conversations that you may just pull it over and dump it there if for a while you're working on it, and then you can delete it later on. But there are a lot of ways to keep abreast without getting overwhelmed about what's going on in the tent.
But to keep in mind, as Judy was saying before, the tent was absolutely designed as a place for you to go to. It's not a place for you to be remote from and just view emails in the warmth and comfort of your Outlook email box. Come to the site and surf around, see what leads you to what, and see what kind of information that people out there need. We're here to learn. We're here to teach, though, too. And our professional colleagues in the tent, such as PDRJ, we can already tell you're going to blaze the way here, and you're going to show our other professional colleagues how you really share in the tent. And that's what we are really looking forward to from you.
And I'm sure there are several on this call who have called into the Knowledge Network to ask about a question or an inquiry pertaining to your particular congregation, or wanting to know what other congregation of my similar size has done X, Y, and Z, and we're really trying to rethink X, Y, and Z, and what's the staff structure for somebody. All these kinds of questions, we're hoping you put them out there in the tent,
And you
because
can answer them as well.
exactly, because that's where the knowledge seeds will start to be nourished and hopefully grow into something stronger. Um, I think we've already talked a little bit about the resource libraries and how you
Yeah.
can add to it and the metadata. Yeah, Larry?
No, I was just gonna say that it's time for you good people to explore. It's
Yep.
time for you to go on the site, surf around, poke around, see what you can find, see what you can do. We're pretty sure you're not going to break the site. I'd be very impressed if you could. I'd like you to let me know if you break the site, but you're not going to break the site. You're going to go online and you're going to start to post things. The tent can be a pretty intimidating place to start, but we feel that once you go to your site and you ask your first thing, or you respond to your first thing, or you share your first thing, things are going to fall into place. And I know that Andy is there to help and Judy is there to help as well. But it's time to start.
Right. And before we leave, I just wanted to show you this one last link, which is called Training and FAQs. And if you get stuck and you can't remember, it's right here at your fingertips of how to do things. So it's right here.
And you can find this through search too. If Judy was to type the word alert in her search box, the very first result she's going to see after she hits return is how to set up an alert in the tent.
Right.
So it's all right there.
So it is now 4 o'clock. You have given us 60 wonderful minutes of your time. And unless there are any other questions that are out there, I think it's time for you to go
Andy just wanted to
okay.
make one last push. He is always here to help. Andy has been such a wonderful leader in the tent so far. The only one who wants this to succeed more than Judy or I is Andy Wayne. So he
Absolutely.
is here to help. Be in touch with him or be in touch with us. And what I always like to say, and you can make note of this, Judy, for the future webinars that you lead, and you did a great job. What we always like to say at the end is welcome to the tent. We are glad that you are here.
And be a frequent visitor.
Please.
And it's not even a visitor. It's your home.
It's a contributor. Very good.
That's right.
Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.